For quite some time, I have wanted to know, and I want you to know more about Angel Arms. So we invited Esther Steinley to come into our home and studio here in Muleshoe so we could find out what is Angel Arms. Esther Steinley of Clovis.
Hi. Angel Arms is a program that I send young airmen, single airmen home that couldn't afford to do so for Christmas, and they get to see their family.
And so that's men and women, right?
Right. Yes.
And are they all based at one place?
Yes, Cannon Air Force Base.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How did you come up with this idea?
Oh, I was reading a book by Karen Kingsbury, and it was a book on community service projects, and at the end of the book, she had allowed people to write in to her and tell her about their ideas, different ideas that they have in the community. And one young man had written about his community sending airmen home, or he just said military men and women home for Christmas. And I thought, what a great idea. So I decided to do that. Just me and my husband, we thought we would do that as our charity, I guess you would call it, for the Christmas season that year, and it was 2011 when we did that.
2011, you sent one man or one woman or what?
Yes, we sent a young man. His name was Tom Riches. He's 23 years old, and well, when my friends got to hearing about what we were doing, they all wanted to join in. So there was probably about 8 couples. We all got together
that first year,
and we just sent the one young man home, and it was such a blessing to get to meet him and find out that he hadn't been home for Christmas probably, and this would have been his 3rd year that he would have missed Christmas, and so it was such a blessing to get to do that for him and his family.
And have you stayed in contact with him since then?
Not as much as I'd like to. We did at first, and now he's been transferred overseas, and so he is my Facebook friend, so I get to see what all fun stuff he's doing over there. But yeah. And
so how did you find Tom that first year?
Well, my neighbor also has a program that she does that's for single airmen, so I knew she would have some contact, and so she did. She found his name for me through her contacts.
And so did he live on the base at that time at Cannon?
Well, he worked on the base, but he actually had an apartment. He had, I think, 2 or 3 roommates, and they were living in an apartment.
And so where was his home? How far did you send him home?
His home was in New Jersey, so we sent him pretty far.
You sure did. Well, now, did his family know he was coming beforehand?
Yes, he was so excited. He told them he was coming. He didn't surprise them.
And so that was 2011?
That was 2011, yes.
And so what happened in 2012?
Well, right after that, I kept feeling a nudge from God that this needed to grow, that as excited as my friends got, I could just imagine that other people in the community would be excited also. So I started looking into how I could make this a bigger thing. And you know how you do, you kind of just keep that in the back of your mind. And one day I just happened to tell my story to the right person, and she pushed me, and we just went from there and got excited about it. And I had to go through some red tape with the base. You can't just donate money. They have to have it approved and all that. So I went through that with them and got it approved, and we were starting probably by October of 2012, I could start raising funds for it.
And so then how were the young men and women selected to go in 2012?
They have what they call first shirts. Each unit has a sergeant that's in charge, and they know these young men and women probably better than their parents do at the time. And so I visited with them. They have a council, and I went to visit with them, and I explained to them I wanted it to be single airmen who could not afford to go home otherwise. They would not be able to go home for Christmas if they did not get this assistance. So they knew my guidelines, and they just started coming up with names. And that first year, they wanted to know what my goal was, and I had no clue, so I decided to go with 6. I thought I would send 6 home and maybe raise about $3,000. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I had enough money to send those 6 home, and it just continued to grow. We end up.
So that how many did you send?
We sent 22 airmen home that year and raised $11,000.
Isn't that wonderful? And so after they came back, what were some of the stories that really warmed your heart that you heard?
Well, most of them were just, they were so thankful that they got to go home. So that was neat to hear them thank everybody and tell them their experiences while they were at home. I had one young man whose little sister kept calling him every day and asking him, are you going to come home? And he wanted to surprise him, so he kept saying, oh, I'm sorry, you can't come home. And she finally sent him a video that she was singing, all I want for Christmas is for you to come home, and to the tune of all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. But anyway, so he was so excited and to get to surprise her, and he sent pictures, and every picture she was in it with him, so that was exciting. But probably the most heartwarming was a young man went home, just a regular visit with his parents and his family, came back to Cannon, worked for about a week or two, and he got a phone call that his brother had been shot and killed in a burglary. And so I knew then that this program was meant to be, and that God had handpicked every one of those kids to go home for a reason.
Now, that grew from 1 to 22, and then last year, how many?
33. We sent 33 this last year and raised $22,000. So it's growing. And if you'd asked me back in 2012, someone did ask me, is this going to grow where you're going to need more people helping you? I would have said no. But now, yes, it's growing. It really is.
And has Cannon Air Force Base been really supportive of the program?
Yes, they're very supportive, especially they can't get over how our community supports them so much, and they're very, very thankful. And these kids, I mean, when I call them kids. They're anywhere from 19 to 25 years old, but
and boys and girls both.
Both boys and girls, and
or men and women.
They're actually men and women. You're right, and they're just so excited. A lot of times they'll give a little yell whenever they hear who I am, because they know their first shirts have told them, I've put you on a list, and if there's enough money. And so when they hear who, when I tell them I'm with Angel Arms, they get so excited. And you asked earlier if Tom had surprised his parents. Some do, some don't. Most of them they need to be picked up from the airport. So they go ahead and tell their parents. But some of them, if they're flying actually into the town, then it's easier for them to surprise them. And so it's just fun. It's fun talking to each kid. They tell me their stories. And
do you have something after they come back where you can get better acquainted and hear their stories, or not?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. In January, we have a reception, and I invite all the airmen that got to go home and their first shirts, and different people from the base, and people who donated. And not everybody gets to come on either side. It's usually, I think this year we had 70 something people come, so that was a big group, standing room only. But that's when we get to hear. They stand up and tell their story and where they went home to, and the experiences they had, and they get to tell everybody thank you. And I know it's not about the thank yous, but it is sure a blessing to get to meet them and see how their lives were.
Now, have you started already for Christmas 2014, or is it just Christmas, or do you send them for Thanksgiving too?
Well, I did send one for Thanksgiving. I do start the fundraising usually about in October, and so if their leave time, it's easier for them to get off during Thanksgiving than I've told them. But I've only sent one during Thanksgiving. Everybody else has gone through during Christmas. Yeah. But I will tell you, people always want to know what's your goal for the upcoming year. Well, my goal has kind of turned into something more. I would like to see this grow into where we can send some of these airmen home that for emergency situations throughout the year. Maybe someone's very, very ill, a mom or a dad or a brother or sister, or maybe someone a close family member has passed away and they need to get home for the funeral. That's what I'm hoping, and I've let the base know so they know that there's money kind of in the reserves for that.
So you have enough that you could do that.
I have enough that I could do that for one or two right now. So when you ask if I'm raising money, I would start raising money now. I mean, it's not just for Christmas.
Now, if someone listening wanted to contribute, how would they contribute to Angel Arms?
They would need to write a check to Central Baptist Church in Clovis, New Mexico, and then in the memo line put Angel Arms.
That would be very important, wouldn't it? Make the check out to Central Baptist Church, but in the memo line, Angel Arms.
Right. That way the church knows exactly where to put that money. And the address for the church is 2501 North Norris, Clovis, New Mexico, 88101.
Give it one more time.
Central Baptist Church, 2501 North Norris, Clovis, New Mexico, 88101.
Now, do you sort of set a goal for this year of how many you'd like to send home for Christmas?
Well, I always go back to that 2012 when I said my goal was 6, and God just blew that out of the water and ended up sending 22. So I really hate to put limits on God because he'll just do whatever he wants to do anyway. But of course, I would like to see it grow more than 33 and more than 22,000. So we'll just see what the year brings.
What is the average amount? Do you know that it costs to send one airman home for Christmas usually?
Yes, this year the average, I kind of figured it out, was about $600, a little over $600. Some didn't go very far, and theirs might be $200 or $300. But I did send one home to the Philippines, one to Guam, and one to St. Thomas, and one to Hawaii. All of those were $1,500 and more. So they kind of shoot the average there.
Was that all last Christmas?
That was just this last Christmas.
So I guess that's the furthest you have sent an airman.
Right, would be Guam, I guess. Guam or Philippines. They're right there together, but yeah.
Well, that is just wonderful. Now, how did you come up with the name Angel Arms?
I'm not sure. My friend and I just sat around one day and we decided we were just going to brainstorm, and we wanted to say angel, I think we wanted to do angel wings because we knew that they'd be flying, and I remembered that there's already a program that's called Angel Wings, so we end up saying arms for the armed forces. So Angel Arms.
Well, that's great. And what is the name of your friend that helped you so much there get this all started?
Her name's Sherry Rucker. Yes.
And I guess she lives in Clovis also.
Yes, and we've been friends for over 30 years, and so yeah, we think a lot alike. So this has been fun working with her on this.
Oh, I'm sure it has, and so rewarding.
It has been. Yes.
Now, as far as the numbers of men and women, what percentage or numbers do you know? Has there always been, except for that first year, women also?
Yes, I've had both men and women both times. I never really have put a number to it, but pretty even. Probably
really?
a few more men, but pretty even. Yeah.
I wonder how many are now stationed at Cannon. Do you have any idea?
Oh, they change so much. They move within the year. It's hard. I wanted to keep up with them, and it's just too hard to do that. So I'm not sure how many are still in Clovis. Most of them were being transferred out pretty quickly after that.
Sure. Well, I know they have a really good feeling about Clovis and the Clovis area after they are transferred someplace else. Don't you imagine? I
do. I really do. And we just hear such good things about our community and how they just really, really cannot believe they come here from another base and they've never been treated this way. And
really?
And so there's a lot of programs besides Angel Arms that support the base, and they're just amazed.
Oh, that's good to hear. Well, I bet that a contribution from anywhere in the world would be most welcome.
Yes, it would be. Yes, I had one young man that went home this year to Tennessee, and his mother has been in contact with me, and she was wanting to know what she could do to help raise awareness in her hometown. So it has spread. The word is spread. I haven't received a check yet from that far off, but we'll see.
Well, that is absolutely heartwarming, too, that someone who has been really the recipient now wants to help someone else.
Yes. Yeah, she's real excited about helping out.
We're talking about Angel Arms. It's a program that this will be the 4th year, right?
Yes.
Started with helping one airman at Cannon Air Force Base who could not go home for Christmas go home. And this year, with your help, I'm sure there will be even more than was sent last Christmas, and that was 33. Again, Esther Steinley, tell us the address where they're to send their contributions if they'd like to help.
Okay. Be sure and write the check to Central Baptist Church, and in the memo line, put Angel Arms, and then mail that check to 2501 North Norris in Clovis, New Mexico, 88101.
Well, thank you so much, Esther Steinley, and we salute you for making this a project that has grown every year.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're certainly welcome.